So I am pumped to do this video. You see, on May 22nd, the House passed what they're calling the One Big Beautiful Bill. Supporters are saying that this is a once-in-a-generation tax reform, the biggest tax cut in history. Middle-class relief, some are saying. Stronger borders, some others are saying. Big business growth. This is going to help big business grow. But let me ask you all something. Is this bill really helping you? Or is it just borrowing from the future to feel better today? I mean, come on, we really got to look at this. Because here's the truth. What looks like a tax break might just be a giant debt trap in disguise. You see, we're going to go deep into this today. What's really inside this bill? Have you really dug into it? Because that's what we're going to do in this video. Who it helps, who it hurts. Is Trump's strategy the one that's going to offset the deficit, or is it just going to add to it? And why the global investments and the market moves could either save us or straight up sink the Titanic. My name's Chris Naugle. This is What Now? What's next for the U.S. deficit? So let's start with, what are they all celebrating? Well, the White House is calling this the largest tax cut in American history, and maybe it is. And here's what it promises. It promises a permanent tax cut worth up to $5,000 per household. So that's like putting $5,000 in your pockets. Woohoo! Yeah! Promises a 15% cut for earners between $30,000 and $80,000. So if you're there, woohoo! We scored! No taxes on tips or overtime. Yep. All you bartenders, man, your tips just went down because we know you're not paying taxes on them. I'm just kidding. I'm going to tip you more. But let's keep going because it gets even better. No tax on Social Security. There never should have been tax on Social Security. Whoever came up with that, smack that bastard. Sorry. No tax on auto loan interest either. The tax bill even goes on to an expansion of the standard deduction that we all can take and a child tax credit. But this one's probably going to surprise you a little bit. And I love this because it incentivizes people to have more children, fixes the demographic problem, the opposite of what China did. A brand new Trump account that is given to every newborn and a $1,000 government contribution. So not only that, parents can contribute $5,000 a year, and half the money can be used at the age of 18, and the rest of it can be used at 30 years old. So yeah, they are thinking long-term here because they're rewarding families, they're promoting growth, promoting you to pop out some more kids for demographic reasons.
And before you go out there and say, oh, this bill only helps the rich.
Here's the truth. The rich are still paying the majority of the taxes in this country. They just play by a different set of rules because they got better tools. And that raises the real question. Is a bigger refund today worth the cost that we're going to face tomorrow, or the costs that our children are going to have to deal with later? Well, you get what I'm talking about. So let's talk about that cost. You see, this bill adds anywhere between $3.3 to $3.8 trillion to the deficit over the next 10 years. So we're already carrying something like a $36 trillion national debt. Moody's just downgraded us. The bond market is in chaos. Yields are spiking. Nobody wants our debt. The last auction, I guess it was like crickets. Nobody wanted to buy U.S. debt because they're scared. And here we are adding more debt to an already blossomed, nice and mature $36 trillion deficit. You picking up what I'm putting down, folks? And now, the interest payments on that debt cost more than our entire defense budget. I don't even know how to comprehend that. Let that sink in, because right now we're spending more paying interest than we are protecting this country. So our debt to GDP ratio, yeah, that's an important ratio. It just soared past 120. Some people would say that's the point of no return. And Moody's, like I mentioned, downgraded us because our national credit rating, well, they're saying we're not as secure as we used to be. That's the first time since 1917. It's a long time. But what does that mean for you? Well, here's a couple of the things that it means for you. It means that your mortgage or your new mortgage you're going to get, yep, it's going to be more expensive. That car loan, well, higher interest. So unless you're being your own bank and getting all the money back for every car you buy, drive, and own, that's a problem. Your credit cards, you guessed it, more interest for them. So even with the $1 trillion in spending cuts, things like Medicaid reform, the SNAP reductions, and the student loan rollbacks, which they're all defaulting anyway, we're still in the red. So if you follow the Penn-Wharton budget model, what they're projecting right now is a 0.5% GDP growth over the next decade. That's like no growth. So yeah, we need a miracle right now. How can we afford to act like debt doesn't matter? Because debt does matter. Debt will be the downfall of this country if we don't get a handle on this. So maybe there is a bigger play here. You see, I think what we're looking at when we look at these numbers is that Trump, he isn't just running the country, he's running a business. The United States of America, if you haven't remembered this, it's a corporation. So if you want to grow a company or a corporation, what do? Well, I've run and grown many companies. Typically, you're going to borrow. You're going to use money and leverage. Then you're going to invest, sometimes in yourself and your business, and you're going to expand. And that is going to result in you collecting returns later. So let's look at later. Here are the strategies Trump is playing on. Tariffs. Trump and China made waves recently in the US and China. They agreed to slash tariffs from 145%, that trade war, down to 30%. So that eased a lot of tension, sent the S&P, the Dow Jones, and the NASDAQ soaring. Don't be fooled by that. Markets love certainty, don't they? Doge, how about the Department of Government Efficiency? See, this is where things, I think, get pretty interesting. Elon Musk, you probably heard of him. Well, he's leading the charge to cut government waste. I mean, there's a whole thing about it. There's a website. I love the website. It's called Doge. And they've already saved an estimated $170 billion, and that's through contract cancellations, laying people off, I mean, all sorts of things. A lot of it's gotten slowed up in the courts, but let's keep going. How about asset sales? How about eliminating fraud? How about workforce reductions? Yeah, those are all good things, right? Why would judges be stopping that? That's $1,055 back to each taxpayer. And Musk truly believes that Doge could hit $1 trillion in savings. He's even gone on to say that it could be $2 trillion. That's one of his projections. And now Doge is targeting programs like Medicaid, Medicare. They're cracking down on overcharging. They're cracking down on misbilling, especially in the medical space, Medicare and Medicaid, and a lot of waste. So I want you to imagine this. You broke your leg. Ow! Just kidding. You actually sprained your leg. But Doge is going to go after that kind of abuse because they charged for a broken leg, but you just had a sprain. Yeah, that kind of stuff happens every single day. And this isn't just cost cutting, it's a systematic reform, and they're fighting hard against it. So you have to ask yourself, if we can find this much waste in just one part of the budget, how much more is out there? I mean, they just got started with this Doge thing. If they can fix the corrupt judges in the lower courts, then I think they can push more through. But let's shift gears here for a little bit. Let's move from Washington to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Back in May, Trump inked a $600 billion deal with Saudi Arabia. But it wasn't just an oil handshake. This was an economic chess game. That's right. Trump and Saudi Arabia are trying to end the chaos going on in the Middle East and turn it into partnerships. So here's where the money's going to go. $142 billion is going to go to defense contracts, $20 billion to AI infrastructure in the United States of America, about $80 billion in tech partnerships with companies like Google, Oracle, and Uber. Another $14 billion in construction and logistics, about $5.8 billion in Michigan manufacturing. My gosh, Michigan needs some help in manufacturing. But also, some of that's going to go to healthcare, which also needs a lot of help. About $4.8 billion is going to Boeing for more aircrafts. And then, hold on, this one even got better. On the same trip, I think the same trip, seemed like it, he went over to Qatar, where they pledged $1.2 trillion, including a $96 billion Boeing deal. The UAE dropped another $1.4 trillion for energy and defense. That's over $3 trillion in commitments to the US economy. So tariffs down, foreign capital up, and check this out, Coinbase just got added to the S&P 500, so Bitcoin is now trading well above $100,000. Institutional money is finally embracing crypto, although Warren Buffett still is not, nor am I. But that's okay. In April, we added 177,000 jobs. Payroll is up. Wages are still climbing. Confidence is surging. So yeah, something big is shifting, but could it just be speculation or is it real? Trade wars are being replaced with partnerships. Sanctions by strategy. If the world's betting on us, damn man, we're ready to deliver. But the bond market, well, it's not saying that. So here's the big picture. We've got a massive tax cut, this massive, the one bill. We've got rising investments in historic global partnerships, but at the same time, we're carrying a dangerous amount of debt. This whole plan, it is high risk, but it is high reward. If it works, America booms. End of story. If it doesn't, well, I don't even want to think about that. It could be bad. It could be like starting all over. So, yeah, we're kind of staring down the barrel of an economic decline. So, are we chasing prosperity or are we gambling with the future? That is a very real question. What do you think? Comment below. But before you comment, hold on. Let's just take this second to do something fun. Because I know all this stuff, some of it's fun, some of it's not. But let's talk about the one thing that matters today, and that is you clicking that subscribe button. And there's a little bell up top. What I need you to do is I need you to smash that bell. Give it a left, give it a right. Oh, man. Every time something has to pay the price, well, kind of like this. So who does pay the price? Because we keep hearing it. This bill helps the middle class, but let's ask the real question. Who is the middle class? Who's the middle class in 2025? Because it sure doesn't feel like it used to be, because the middle class was the middle class in the good old days. But now, I don't know. Wages have barely budged over the last decade, but rents, well, they're up 30%. Groceries, who knows, double in some cases. Gas, yeah, that's way more. Insurance, that's criminal. It's all up. The average American family is paying over $2,000 more per year just in increased housing and healthcare costs. And if you haven't got your healthcare renewals, yep, they're going up a bunch too. So if you do the math, that's half of this tax bill benefit that you're gonna get, the $5,000, it's gone before it even hits your bank account. I mean, how is that benefiting anybody? Student loans, well, yeah, they're back too. Auto loans, yep, they're climbing. Credit card interest, that's the highest it's been in 20 years. So yeah, relief, well, that's nice. But for the middle class right now, this isn't a reset, it's a catch-up time. You might be getting $5,000 back because of this tax bill, but if your cost of living went up $7,000, did you really gain anything? If the middle class can't afford the middle of the market, is it even middle class anymore? Are we gonna be like some other countries where there just is no middle class? Because it does seem like the institutions are trying to squeeze the middle class out. So that now we got a lower class, and upper class, and no middle. So this would be a good time for me to mention that I just did a really good podcast, and I'll actually share it at the end of this. It's the real estate crisis that's happening. Yes, there is a real estate crisis, and that crisis is getting worse. Now, I'm not gonna give it away, you can watch the video, but the thing I will tell you is that the middle class disappearing is very real. If you look at what BlackRock and Blackstone and so many of the other big hedge funds are doing with real estate, they're buying it all. And then they're renting it all back to us. And then from a development standpoint, we need affordable housing. And what are they building? Luxury housing and luxury apartment buildings that, well, most of America cannot afford. Did you realize that only 25% of the US population can afford a house given the median home price right now? All right, anyway, that's not what this video is about, so let's dive back into it. So I think the real question is what do? You can't print money. You can't sign deals with Saudi Arabia. You can't sign deals with the UAE. You can't rewrite the tax code, but you can do something just as powerful. I talk about this all the time. You can take back control of your own economy. You can become your own bank. You can start with this. Set up a real budget. Not just a list of bills, but a strategy for your cash flow. Next, what I want you to do is cut and drag. You can do this on your computer. High interest debt, yep. Get aggressive about paying that down. We got plenty of videos that show you how to do that. Then learn the rules of the wealthy. You see, they don't just work for money, they make their money work for them, which starts with the first law of wealth: keep 10% of the money you make. And that's where the infinite banking concepts comes in. You see, this is how I took back control of my finances. I became my own bank. And I used a guaranteed growth vehicle to store my money, and then I borrowed from my own banking system. So if you got a $5,000 tax break this year, would you just blow it or would you build it? You see, I'm gonna build. And that's what you need to do, because we can't let the middle class go away. And you know what? The deficit that the US government's building, we can't control that, but we can control our own deficit, and that's what we need to do. You know, there's something else. With everything that's going on with this new bill, the market shifts, the global deals, the real question is this: how are you preparing for what's next? Because here's the thing, most people aren't. Most people definitely are not taught how to actually manage their money. I see this every day. They're just told to work. They're told to save in a 401k or some other place that, you know, gives somebody else control of their money. And they just hope and pray that it all works out. That's not a plan. That's a gamble. It's no different than going to the casino and putting it all on black, which is exactly why we created Money School TV. It's a place where we break this stuff down. Yes, all this stuff. No fluff. We're going to show you real strategies to take back control of your budget, your cash flow, and ultimately your future. It's not about guessing what the economy is going to do. It's about making sure you're ready for whatever it does. No matter what happens, you're ready to make it an opportunity. So try it. Try it free for 30 days. If it's not for you, no harm, just cancel. But if it is for you, this might just be the thing that changes everything. You cannot control the tariffs, like I said. You can't rewrite the tax code or the tax law, but you can take control of your own economy. So start with the budget, start building real wealth, eliminate your personal deficit, and become your own bank. Check out this video right here if you liked what you just heard. This video right here is all about the real estate crisis that's unfolding real time. You see, no matter what happens in DC, your economy starts with you. Thanks for watching. This has been another episode of What Now? What's next for the tax deficit?